everyone. Welcome to Triple T Thursday. That stands for Tips, Tricks, Talktorials. I'm your host coming at you, and I'm super excited that you're here. I wanted to have a chat with you today. Oh, my sign's not even on. Oh my goodness, pull my life together. So people should be two things in life, okay? Male, female, identifying as one or the other, whatever you want to say. And those two things are whoever and whatever you want to be, okay? So I am going to do like a little mini rant. And then I want to hear what y'all have been up to, okay? So this came to be because today, just randomly, I had this appointment with a technical recruiter. And what's interesting about it is I'm not necessarily looking to go back to work at any of these types of companies, these FANG companies, right? Facebook, Amazon, Apple, Netflix, Google, all the ones inside of the acronym. And I haven't been out there applying to any of these jobs, but as you do every once in a while, you get all kinds of recruiting emails or, anyways. And so I had gotten one several months back and I had ignored it. And I was like, hey, do you want to chat? And I ignored it. And then maybe fast forward 4 months later, I got another follow-up like, hey, do you want to have a chat just to see, checking up? Is this a better time? And I was like, I'm not really doing anything right now, And so I was like, you know what? And what was quoted was exploratory chat. And I was like, okay, I guess we could have an exploratory chat. And you sign up for a time window. And it's like 20 minutes, like how much it should be an introductory, exploratory. Do your skills or anything match maybe anything that we might have? Tell me about it. It's usually one of those pleasantries. What have you been up to in the past? And that kind of such. And yada, yada, yada. So I make an appointment and I get this person on the phone. We have some general pleasantries. And then halfway through this exploratory chat, it turns into a technical screening because they started asking me questions about how would you design an app? How would you do these things? And I was like, whoa, wait a second. This is not at all what I thought this conversation. You said exploratory chat, not technical screening interview. So as one would typically probably prepare for this one differently, right? Just like if you're an engineer and you're about ready to go apply for jobs at some of these companies, you probably would brush up on some of your basic code type questions, right? It's very common. So I was not prepared for any kind of like, tell me about this stack and tell me about these latencies and and I was just kind of like, whoa, first of all, I try and muddle through and I'm like, okay, these are the questions that I would ask. And these are some of the expectations or things that I would probably assume and, and then they're like, well, I don't think we'd want to go, too much further with a, down this technical road. And he's like, if I were you, I would not apply for, any kind of technical roles. I would apply for like a PM type role. And I was just like, one, I didn't ask for your opinion. Two, I didn't actually even apply for a job. I actually was just having what I thought was an exploratory discussion with you, and you've turned it into a technical screening. So I was not too pleased with that because I'm like, nothing about my technical abilities, the depth and breadth of the jobs that I've worked at. I've worked at 2 other FANG companies that were fine with my level of technical expertise. And now obviously it worked out. And I was like, so for you to then say, one, you're not technical enough. Okay, sure. I didn't apply for anything. You reached out and you also didn't say it was like anything other than a conversation about exploration and information. So why would I be prepared to then all of a sudden start talking about these technologies? And I know some people would be like, we should be prepared anytime. I'm saying no, if your brain is fried and you're not looking for that kind of conversation in a 20-minute, what? No, you're just not prepared for that. Obviously, with enough prep, if I wanted a job there, maybe that's something I would study for and I would have a different outcome. But for any gentleman to say it's a blanket statement, you shouldn't apply for tech jobs. I was like, excuse you, what? Excuse you, what? Just like, no, that's not cool. And I was thinking about this and I was just like, how many people are told that and just be like, oh, I should just never apply at a tech company again? How many women, if told you should never apply? I mean, do we not already hear that enough as it is? Women shouldn't be applying to these positions and blah, 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 that stuff. I was just like, yikes, what a really poor representation of what's supposed to be a first first impression as a recruiter for a technical company. I'm like, that's not good. That's not a good place to be. I was pretty irritated by that. And so afterwards, when he was like, well, if you want to push back on any of the feedback that I've given you, this is after he's told me that I shouldn't apply for technical positions. I was like, let's start with the fact I didn't actually apply for any position at all, technical or not. You're the first one to reach out to me. And he's like, okay, that's a good point. I'm like, yeah, you think? But anyways, I was thinking about this later and I was like, dude, that's not cool. So I actually responded to him via email and I was like, hey, thanks for your time today. Not for nothing, but like, if you wanted to have a technical screening, you really should, set the scene that that's what the conversation should be about so that someone can be prepared to speak about that. And it's not a surprise to them. Also, I think it's pretty bad as a blanket statement to say you shouldn't apply for tech positions because that's just not a good look. And I was like, if this is what recruiting looks like at this company, this is not a company, which I wasn't already looking at. I'm like, this is not a company or experience that I would ever want to go through or recommend people go through or my friends to go through if this is what the first entry-level conversation looks like. I was like, no, thank you. And I have not gotten a response from that, but I am thankful when I posted it on my Facebook and, on like some people were like, my favorite one was, this guy sounds like a douche waffle. And I was like, that's a good one. I like that one. That one made me smile. So I'm going to go with that one. This guy sounds like a douche waffle. And I'm sure he could be a very nice guy. And that's not the point. The point is, I don't care if someone's not right for your company. I could definitely not be right for that company, but you should never tell anybody, honestly. I don't think, it's one of those like pat you on the head, like, tech's not for you, honey. Like, we don't need that. We don't need more of that. And that's why I'm just saying in your life, you should be two things, who and what you want to be. If you want to become a technical program manager, if you want to become a coder, if you want to become involved in the tech world and you don't have the experience or the knowledge or the, wherewithal to do it now, no one should ever tell you never. They should say, these are the things that you should work on. These are the, areas in which I would believe people would need to brush up on to make sure that you're competent in these areas. But to take a blanket statement and be like, you should never apply for a tech position, you should only apply for a non-tech position, is just a real douche waffle thing to say. So I'm just going to put that out there. And so I wanted to share that with you because what's interesting is I'm not even looking for a job. So it really just is, even though it like irritates me, it's not anything where it's devastating to me because I was banking on this, to get me out of some financial hardship, or I'm trying to get into a real job so I can pay off student loans or something like that. It was just a minor annoyance to me. But I am sad to think that this recruiter is out there telling people who are trying to go for jobs or maybe, switching careers, that maybe certain careers, that's not for you, honey. Don't do that. This is not for you. This type of work is not for you. And I'm like, if you really are a recruiter and you're trying to get people into these positions, you should be giving them the tools and equipment that they need to be able to present themselves in the best light. You could say, hey, it seems like, maybe you're not strongest in technical. I mean, there's plenty of ways to say you're not right for a technical role. Maybe you should try other roles without making a blanket statement as you should not apply for these types of roles. You should apply for others. Do you understand what I'm saying? Give me a thumbs up if you understand what I'm saying. There's lots of ways that you can say that. And it can be like, hey, here's some resources on if you want to learn more about algorithms and, coding questions. Or, hey, I would definitely brush up on these types of things because this is, what happens a lot and frequently, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, those are a completely different way of reframing the same thing, which was, hey, maybe you're not technically up to snuff to the level of competence that we would need to put you into an entry role in that position. That's fine. But I just, I take issue with the way that anyone would make a blanket statement to anyone else looking at a job that they wanted, saying, this isn't for you. And this is actually something I wanted to talk about because when it comes to YouTube as well, I feel like there are a lot of people who gatekeep and be like, oh, this isn't for you. Whether it's, let's say it's, I want to make, hi, baby. She's going to come say hi in a minute if she doesn't, I don't know if she ran away. there might be people out there be like, oh, you can't talk about 3D printing because girls don't do that, right? And this would be the same with, oh, you can't talk about makeup because you're a dude, and like, oh, that's just not okay, right? This is, let's say, before all of the men in makeup were more of a thing, right? Or oh, you can't talk about X subject because there isn't anyone else out there that also talks about it. Or, oh, we can't have a tradesperson talking about social media because we just don't have a lot of that. And so that kind of thing is really, really, that gatekeeping is what I want to chat about with you, because there are people out there right now that will be like, oh, you can't, be part of this, whatever this is, because you don't have enough subscribers, you don't have enough experience, you haven't made enough videos, you don't have X amount of views per month, that kind of thing, right? Like, we can't hang out with you because of this, or we wouldn't collab with you because of that, and that gatekeeping that happens. Instead of even saying something like, let me back up. There are people that you may not want to work with. And in some instances, there doesn't necessarily have to be a reason. It could be ideological things that are incongruous. It could be, it could be lots of reasons. So it doesn't mean that just because you want to, you are entitled to. Okay. So I guess I'm going to also put that in there. But I am saying that if there's something that you want to do, which is, let's say, make videos, and someone then comes to you and says, you can't make videos because you don't have, I don't know, a nice camera, or you don't have whatever. That's what I have issue with. And what I take issue with is, a lot of the time, it's not the other person who's saying that. It's what you believe the other person who is saying that, and you say it to yourself instead. So I can't make videos because I don't have a nice camera. I can't make videos because I don't know how to edit. I can't do this stuff because blank, right? So now you're taking what this other person, let's say in this instance, has said to me, but saying that about yourself. And you have to stop being a douche waffle and maybe say, what I need to do is level up my skills, or learn how to work with what I have, or do and present myself in a better way, or be more prepared so that when the next time comes that this question comes, I'm not hit with this deer in the headlights, like, oops, what the heck just happened? And also realize that sometimes these opportunities, they just give you an insight and moment to reflect in yourself, because in that moment, in my moment of like stunned, excuse me, what did you just say to me? That it would be very easy to kind of waffle under that and just be like, oh, I should never have a job in tech, or, oh, I should never apply for these types of positions. And then you have to say, wait a second, I didn't even want this job. I didn't apply for any job. Okay. And what they're saying necessarily isn't true, because one, maybe I wasn't prepared for that interview. And if I had prepped for the interview, I would be prepared, or I would have better answers. Or two, maybe there's other roles. And this happens at lots of companies. The role definitions inside of one group versus another, completely different. So I've seen roles that have the same title at different companies, completely different. Some are about process improvements and efficiencies. Some are actually about code release cycles. Some are actually about scheduling and management and that kind of stuff. Like, it is all over the place, okay? And so it's weird. It's just a weird statement to me. Keeps coming back to me is a very weird statement to make a blanket statement that if I were to apply at this company, that I should not ever look at a technical type of role. And I was just kind of like, excuse you, you know nothing about me. You know nothing about my history, really. And even from the get-go, I was a little bit put off because he said, can you tell me about you, yourself, your work history in about 2 minutes? And I'm like, what a weird time frame to put around that. And like, what are the highlights that you would want to put up? But it was also kind of one of those illustrating points of, I'm going to allow you to speak now, but I'm not actually that interested in what you have to say, because most people would probably give you more than 2 minutes. But also it's like, you're the one who contacted me. You're the one who saw my resume. You're the one who hit some sort of key trigger word that contacted me, right? So one, you should already know a tiny bit about me, but two, you should want to get to know me in an exploratory conversation. But he just wanted to get to the technical questions, which I didn't know that was the point of the call. So that notwithstanding, the whole point is, you can't let one douche waffle tell you that you would never apply at a company or never be able to do a specific type of job in your future. Because not only that, I've worked at other companies, some of which that are very hard to get hired into in a technical role. So it's not like I can't get hired in a technical role. It's not like I don't have the abilities. It's also like, it's just a weird blanket statement to say. And I was just really taken aback in that moment and kind of felt like slapped across the face to be like, wow, I feel really disrespected in this moment that you have this snapshot of me that is entirely inaccurate. And you would make a statement like that just actually says way more about you than me. And I was like, this experience would not make me want to work at this company if this is what recruiting is like. But that's not necessarily your fault. Maybe you're just a really bad recruiter. Okay, maybe working at that company would be great. I don't know. I know lots of recruiters, bad and good. But that entire experience, though, just illustrates, what are you going to do with that snapshot in time? Are you going to never work in that position? Are you going to, say something? Are you not going to say something? Are you going to like crumble under the weight of this person who you have no real interaction or relationship with has said to you? Or are you just going to like be like, whatever, you douche waffle? Right? So, and I pretty much kind of like after his like, oh, well, you can push back on if any of this, what I'm saying you disagree with. And I just started with, let's also be very clear that I did not contact you. You reached out to me and I did not apply for any position, technical or not. So let's start there. And he was like, oh, that is a good point. And like after that, I was so disgusted by him. I pretty much just hung up on him. But all right, let's also get to what's in your cup, people. What's in your cup? Let's talk about it. Today, I burnt myself on it. So I think you could guess. It's the Tazo Awake English Breakfast. Starbucks, if you're out there, hit a girl up, right? All right, Dutch Can Jam. Hello, Pixelpia. Hello. Hey, Kiva. Let's see here. Speaking of all of my mods, nobody has maybe seen it or reacted to it. Maybe one person did. If you were to go look in the Discord on Labor Day, I put a little message in the live stream moderators Discord channel. Maybe you should go check it out. Hello, Annie. Hello, Cameron. Sad that the recruiter takes this sort of approach during an interview conversation. Yeah, right? Yeah. Douche waffle. Foo funny. Love your content. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, Pixelpia, no one should ever tell me what I can't say or do unless it's illegal. Well, that's a good point. Never internalize what others tell you about before you evaluate it in your own mind. Absolutely. Pixelpia, it says celebrating 16 months. Wow, can't believe you've been hanging here. You know what? It would be even longer than that because technically, remember, I took memberships off. I deactivated them for a good 8 months, I think, all the time that I was working at TubeBuddy and stuff. So interesting, right? You should have slapped back. I know, right? I should have. But I was too stunned to probably even speak properly at that particular point in time. I was just really irritated by the whole thing. And, it just is what it is. All right. Multi-green kombucha. Nice. Let me see if I don't burn my tongue. I literally did burn my tongue downstairs. It's still really hot. Really, really hot. Okay. What's new with y'all? Let me know. Did anybody watch the Apple event that aired, what was it, yesterday, 2 days ago? Yesterday, 2 days ago? And is anybody interested in the new iPhone 14 or the Ultra watch or the new AirPods Pro? Those are kind of the three things that were talked about. Is anybody interested in getting any of those things? I will say, y'all know my love for purple runs so deep. That is honestly the big thing that was pushing me if I was to upgrade to the 14. And I am curious about this dynamic island. I'm not going to lie. I'm not pretty cool. But I think I'll be rocking with my 13 for a while. But the 14 purple is really, really beautiful. Yeah. Anyways, it's really, really pretty. So what else is new with y'all? And hi. Hi, would you like to come over here and say hello? No? Okay, never mind. Maybe not. Also, I don't know if you guys saw this, but I had recently posted a short video. It's like 1:45 that I used as a test run for a YouTube ad. So the YouTube ad was supposed to be an experiment to see if running a short ad on the iMovie Made Easy course would result in people purchasing it. And then how much would it take in ads spend to be able to equate to a sale. So as you all know, I've always been a big proponent of don't go out and spend on advertising for Google ads and try and get more eyeballs on your content if you don't have a product or something to sell. So just trying to buy ads to get more views to your channel, not a great idea. If you're doing it because you have some sort of service, product, course, thing that you could be able to sell, worth experimentation. So I hooked up with my friend Dane. You guys know Dane. He's really good with YouTube ads, and we host that Video Marketing Value podcast together. And so he was like, okay, let's try this script, and this is kind of what we're going for, and let's try a YouTube ad. And I was like, you know what? Okay, let's give it a shot. So I gave it a shot, and I kind of followed the format, and it was an interesting thing where we could go through and start to look at some of the metrics on what can you target? How much is a cost per click? What would it cost to acquire a customer? How could we try and geographically pick out, who might be watching, and then try and play with some of the metrics? And so it was an interesting experiment. We kept the budget. It was a micro budget. We spent $100 on ads to see if we could get $100 because that's what the course is. So the course is $100. We spent $100 in ads to see if it was a 1-for-1. Because technically, if it only cost you, let's say $75, but you got $100 out of it every single time, for most people, that'd be like, okay, yeah, keep spending money because you're still going to be making some money. Like there's still a profit margin, right? You just wouldn't want it to be where you spend $300 and you sold something for $100, right? Because that wouldn't necessarily make sense. So we did spend $100 and we didn't necessarily get a sale, but we did learn a lot of interesting facts and tidbits. And I thought it was fun to go back and also talk about what we think we know about my customer base or my viewership base, and how would it go against who has ever purchased the course before and who we think that ideal person would be. If this is interesting to you in any way, please let me know. We don't have to talk about this if you want to talk about something else. But I thought it was still kind of fascinating because even with that, we then decided that from what I've seen in the past, it was usually almost always the majority of the purchases would be by females and not by men. Is it because men don't want to follow instructions? I don't know. I'm kidding. And then we also found, usually in the United States, sometimes they would tend to skew a little older. And to me, I was like, so Pixelpia actually, you would almost be in the age group or bucket of people that might actually be interested in a course like that. Let's say a little bit skewing older, let's say, 45 plus older, living in the United States. I mean, I know you already technically know a lot about, you know what I'm saying, okay? Versus, let's say, a 17-year-old dude just getting started and wanting to be social media. And I have found that historically that it was going to be skewing female, older, and it might even be someone who wasn't necessarily needing to be on YouTube, but wanted to be able to maybe create a video for their grandkids. Or I had one who was a school teacher. They were a principal at a school and they wanted to create a video that the students had put together. And it was kind of like a special momentous finale of some sort of a school assembly thing that they had, right? And a lot of the other people, there were some men that bought it, and they all tended to skew older too. Let's say like 35 plus. So take that for what you will. So it wasn't a lot of young people, but it was a lot of older, and then majority female. And so when we started looking at the words that we were targeting and who was actually watching, it was actually tending to be younger men. And I was just like, ooh, maybe that's not great because younger men aren't tending to purchase. And so we had tried to actually change the targeting into something that was going to be older females looking and actually even living in specific states. So I don't know why, but we found out that a lot of the people who were looking were kind of on East and West Coast, larger cities. So it was like LA and New York, or maybe there was something in Texas or too, but like it was kind of like those extremes, right? It was interesting. I throw the word around interesting. If you guys are totally bored by this, it's okay, but I am talking to you because you're my friends. So when we had changed the targeting and then all of a sudden it turned out like, hey, we didn't get as many clicks because I don't know, for whatever reason. So then we ended up reopening up the target age range and to both sexes. So one of the things that we discovered was maybe if the cost per acquisition for a customer was still going to cost $100 to $150, you can't have a product that's $99 because then if it costs $150 to make $99, you're losing $50 every single customer that you, right? So, and it was like, oh, but if you had a product that was $300, then, you know, the math still makes sense. So it's like, is your course priced at the right thing, at the right level, or like, so all of these other variables come into play. So nothing happens except for more questions when you go through something like this. And then it also becomes like, hey, instead of a 1 minute and 45-second video, what if it was a 60-second video or something like that? And so there are all these like experimentation and games that you could play. So it's actually kind of fascinating when you think about all the variables that go into YouTube ads and why are some successful and what happens when you go to the landing page and what does the conversion look like and what percentage do you need to click through from the video into the website, from the website into the cart in the purchase phase. And so, yeah, take that for what you will. But I thought it was an interesting case study that still gave lots of data. But it also then made me think, if the person who's in the past been buying my course is an elderly female, United States based, not trying to be a content creator, that would change the way and the script and the filming of said advertisement. So just something to, and also what happens if you take that advertisement and you try and put it on Facebook versus YouTube versus whatever else. So we will say at the end of that, it wasn't necessarily a successful campaign in that we got someone to enroll, but I still learned a lot and had more questions that came out of it and have more hypotheses about everything. And then it also brought into question, like, should I take down the course and put it up on Skillshare? Should I, strip down the course and make it even easier and charge less money? Or should I beef it up and add, charge more for it? Should I just abandon it altogether and go into a course about like Final Cut? Someone asked me if I was going to do a Final Cut course, and I was like, well, one, I don't think that's on the horizon for me anytime soon because I just feel like there's too much to cover, and it certainly wouldn't be for that same price point. So I don't know. It's one of those, why do some courses go super duper well and why do some courses not do well is a fascinating question. Is it to do a lot with how many people are using iMovie, what the cost of iMovie itself as a free thing already is, but there are people out there selling templates for Canva, which is a free service as well for some things. And there are other things that are free that people are still creating courses on, and they're making money. Or is it that the user pool who wants to have tutorials and whatever is just too small? Is it that the course material isn't as good as it could be? I think it's pretty good. Is it like, right? There's just so many questions that come up when you start to run through like that. So I know Pixelpia, you have a course that you're wanting to create. I don't want this to scare you with, oh my God, all these questions, right? Because I think what's most important is getting the course and then trying to figure out later if you're going to tweak it, if you're going to change some things, if you're going to run advertisements behind it, what does that look like? But, having it to start with. And I do believe what Steve Dotto said at the very beginning, which was you're going to put way too much effort and way too much into the course, and you probably could scale it back, because that's the curse of every first-time course creator is you just put too much, put too much. And so maybe that's what happened. So the Purple 14 Pro Max looks so fire. I know, right? I have to get the 14 Pro. I have the 7 Plus. Oh yeah. See, and that's the thing is you're more so like the average consumer, right? The average consumer waits several cycles to then upgrade their iPhone, whereas a lot of other people have these unrealistic expectations that they should or that they're going to upgrade their phone every year, which isn't necessarily the majority of cases that are out there. So it would probably be a much more logical thing. Someone's on a 10 and going to a 14, or 11 and going to a 14, rather than I'm on a 13 going to a 14. So yeah, I totally get that. Yes, tell me everything. I'm still working on getting my course together. The teacher market should be interesting for your course if marketed towards using it for education. And saying that, I realize that I should really make my course towards teachers. I know what they want and need. Nothing scares me. See? Great. What do I always say? I make all the mistakes so you don't have to. So if I make all the mistakes with my course so that your course can be amazing and make tons of money, great. Great. Great, great, great. All right, how are we looking on time? Here? Oh, we're doing pretty good. All right, so we have a little bit of time. Is there anything that y'all want to chat about? Let me know. Let me put on some music because I know you guys are a little bit behind me anyway. Let me play a song. We'll do a boogie. If you want to chat about something, let me know. Oh, we can chat about average view duration, average view percentage that I just put out a short on today because that was in my head. So hold on. Here we go. And let me... So we were talking a little bit also about average view duration, average view percentage. So I don't know why, but someone I was chatting with, I don't even remember where we were talking about this. And they were like, well, they didn't realize that if I watch a video, which y'all know that I do, at 1.5 or 2 times speed. This happened once on Twitter and I was trying to explain this. I was like, okay, you have a 10-minute video and I watch 5 minutes of it. Let's say if it's at normal speed, I've gotten through 50% of your video, right? That's average view duration, 5 minutes, average view percentage, 50%. However, if I watch that video at double speed, you could have average view duration still of 5 minutes, but average view percentage would jump up to 100%. And he's like, but when it comes to the 4,000 hours of watch time, what counts? And I'm like, well, it's 5 minutes. Because that's what you accrued. It's 5 minutes. And he's like, but it's a 10-minute video. And I'm like, but if I watch it at double speed, you get an average view percentage that doubles or, is 100%, which you're welcome. Because most of the time, if I start a video, I'm going to finish it because I know that it still is meaningful as a metric. But you only get credit for the minutes accrued in real time that it takes for me to watch it, regardless of how fast I watch it. So That is why you could have all of these people that have really high average view durations. I'm sorry, average view percentages, but the average view duration could still not be fantastic. Hopefully that makes sense. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. Mr. Camera Junkie, hello. How are you? Good to see you. I was saying, because you have a wrench, Dutch Can Jam has a wrench, and Pixelpia, you have a wrench. Go take a look in the Discord for the live stream moderators chat, because no one has really responded to that, so maybe you should go look in that channel, okay? Last thing, is everyone hopefully also clear that average view duration, average view percentage? The last thing that happened today, notable news. Queen of England died. Queen Elizabeth II died, which means we now have King Charles. But did you all know that apparently they can choose their own name? So if he doesn't want to be referred to as King Charles, he could actually be referred to as something else. So that is TBD, if it is actually King Charles or something else. But yeah. Interesting. And gosh, 96 years old. She has seen a lot, lived through a lot. I don't know how some people feel about that. Some people are like, some people don't care. Some people are devastated. Obviously, maybe if I lived more so in like Canada or England, it might mean more to us. But if you're someone who is affected by that loss, I am sorry. I'm sorry. Okay. I feel like an outsider. There's only mods here. And the queen passed. Yeah. I had a peek. Oh, good. Which I think is funny. If you think about it, I think like everybody that's here, is a mod, because it's like the same people here at every stream. So there's that. So, but I appreciate you all, right? There's 10 of us. That's 10 of my 1,000 true fans. So there's that. Is there anything else that y'all want to chat about? Anything else that we've missed? I feel like there's a lot. There's a lot that happened. So just as a recap, you can do whatever you want to do. You can do all the things, probably within reason, mostly probably with some preparation. But okay, don't let people say otherwise to you. You can do all the things, okay? And when you learn to do all the things, hopefully you don't tell other people that they can't do things. Because things are hard in the world enough as it is, right? There are a lot of people telling you you shouldn't do things, but there really shouldn't be a lot of people saying that you can't do things if you want to do them, okay? Okay. Priority one, what are mods? Mods are moderators. It's a short, what do they call it? It's a shortened thing for moderators. So they take mods and they have the ability to, let's say, boot someone out of a stream or time them out if they're just being completely douche-waffly. Or that's, I don't know. Do you guys have other things that you can do? I think that's about it. You can ban people, I think, or you can, yeah. So you watch some of the iMovie tutorials? Yay. I have a course on iMovie as well. If anyone ever wants to go support local, you can support your girl. I have an entire course on how to do iMovie stuff. There you go. 7.5 hours. Maybe that is just too much. Maybe it's just too much for someone's brain. I thought they go through one day, and you'll have all you need to know with editing. Maybe it's just too much. Maybe I should have done, get done in 3 hours, 2 hours. I don't know, man. I don't know what would have done it. You can post links. There you go. You can also post links. Other than that, it's just people that come every week and hang out with me. So they're my friends, okay? They're my friends. All right. I hope you all have an excellent, excellent night. I will see some of you around the YouTubes and Twitterverse and all of that stuff soonish. And thank you for your time in my ranty stuff. And yeah, thanks for being here, y'all. Kudos to all of you. Peace out.